let's talk about enumerate function. We saw that range can be used to generate indices for a list. So for example, if we have a list 1, 2, 7, and we write for loop for number in, let's say it's numbers, but we just want to get the indices, then we will use range, length of the numbers list. So what happens here is that we get 3 here, and altogether the range gives us 0, 1, and 2. And now we, for example, let's print out the index. Okay, no, it's not number here, so I just want to get the index for every element. So I rather use I as a variable here. So I print out the y, and now to get the actual value, I can use this y to point to this element. So I is an index, so it starts from 0. The index 0 is here, index 1 is here, index 2 is here. But as you can see, in this loop I use index, and I also want to have the value. If I would if I only want to take the values, then I would use for loop as this for number in numbers. And now I don't have to do that, I can just print out the number. But sometimes you want to have both. You want to get the index and you want to get the value. For that, we can use function enumerate, and it works like that. For okay, so yeah, with the range, we can use the index to point to the value. And the enumerate can be used to get both the index and the value. And it's written as that. For I and number in enumerate. And here we put a list. I guess here's an example also. And as you can see, here we have 2 variables, I and number. So what the enumerate does, it basically takes the elements, which in my case are 1, 2, and 7, but with every element it also returns the index, 2. So I basically get pairs. For every element I get a pair where the first part is the index and the second part is the value. So, and using enumerate, I can easily print out the index and the value. And here is an example. So we have also, instead of numbers, we have strings, so the list of names. And if I want to know the index of the element and the value of the element, I can use enumerate. And basically I use the I also for the index and name for the value, and put the list into enumerate function. And now in the function in the loop body, I can use the variables I for the index and currently number or name in my code examples. It doesn't have to be y. I could use also x and y here, for example, whatever. Those are just variables which get the values from the pairs, but you have to have 2 values here. There is an option to write it as for, let's say, x in enumerate. Let's say numbers. But now if I print out the x, then it's actually a pair. So I would get 0 and 1 for the first execution, then I would get 1 and 2, and I would get 2 and 7. So basically, currently the x contains 2 values. So if I want to get first or the second value from this x, I still have to do some extra work. So it's easier to put 2 variables here and treat them as 2 separate variables and then two separate values. One is for the index and the second is for the value itself.